What's up, everybody? It's the Digital World Podcast. We can see here that the 30-year Treasury has slightly gone up by um, zero point zero 0.04 points. Last time we made a video was at 4.81. And so, um, I'm telling you right now, this right here is compressing. You can see that it's going to have to choose a direction here soon. And the 30-year bond is telling you, it's telling you that there's something on the horizon. Don't know what it's going to be. Obviously, I don't expect this to go jump 2%. No, it works differently. There have been some instances, if you look here in the 80s, right, where you do have those sharp turns of about, this is probably like somewhere around, probably like 12 or 11.9, and it probably goes to around, maybe 13, 14. So there have been instances in the past where there's sharp um, movements that happened. Um, I'm not going to expect anything like that, but I do, like I've been saying on this channel, for those of you who are new and watching, we have had this 40-year trend in the bond market, and it has been a bull market for the bond market. And that has changed ever since 2020. I think 2020 was the pivot point for bonds, and I think we're headed towards a trend shift, which would indicate a bear market for U.S. Treasury bonds. And if you look at any 5-year period, right, it's plenty of time to let you know if there's going to be a shift change. And I think as we progress towards the future, I think you're going to see more volatile events occurring, and you're going to note that people are going to be confused. They're going to say, well, the Fed cut rates. Why is the market going in the opposite direction? And a lot of people are expecting lower mortgage rates. And that's kind of like the basis of our channel, of what we're keeping track of. If you look at U.S. 30-year mortgage rates, they have gone down. They're at 6.75, and now they're at 6.63. And your local real estate agent's probably going to tell you, oh, man, rates are dropping. You better get in now. Dude, I mean, this is a drop in the bucket, right? In comparison to into what they think it's going. And I think September will be an interesting time to keep an eye on how the bond market's going to react, and how the mortgage loans are going to react. Here's why. If you look on the CME group, the probabilities, right, for the for what the Fed's gonna do, we currently have 84.5% chance they're going to do a quarter cut, so about 25 basis points, and 15.5% that they're going to stay still. Now, last time we cut, which is November of 2024, the opposite result occurred. And I think this time around, people are trying to indicate that the same will happen here. Now, you got to understand, and I highly recommend the Uneducated Economist. He does a really good job. But he talks about the credible threat theory. So by the time something happens, it's already been priced in, right? And people think that when it actually happens, then things start happening. But it doesn't work like that now. It might have used to, right? But now, when you look at how the Fed speaks and talks, they put the news out there for so it can be disseminated to the masses, and the masses react accordingly based on what that news is. And so their new Their new policy tool is their words. And they get you to do what they want you to do by guiding you there with what they say. That's their guidance. Their the actual impact that the rate cuts or hikes actually do is almost, I don't want to say negligible because it's still doing something, but it's more about how the perception of the people is guided. And if you've seen The Wizard of Oz, on how everyone's scared of the big monster or whatever, the evil guy. Turns out it's just a little dude on the back of a screen talking, right? And so that film kind of portrays, right, a lot of what the how the world is governed. It's by all these narratives and tools and how it makes people feel and react. And that is what is happening. And I'm very curious. I'm very, very curious to see how the market is going to react on September 17th. And I'm going to keep a close eye. I mean, we'll be making videos, and we're going to see what the market does when these rate cuts are actually implemented and announced, right? Right now, the narrative is being pushed out. This is what we're going to do, right? And there's a high probability that this is the route we're going next. And so that's what we need to keep an eye on. The other part that needs to be noted here is this statistic. And this is the share of young adults living with parents hits level not seen since the Great Depression. Now you tell me, right? This could, right? It could be, it may be correlated, maybe not. Maybe there's a reason, maybe there's not, right? Different time periods, different circumstances. However, you cannot tell me that there's something wrong currently with the economy based on several factors, right? Back then you can make the argument, oh well, they lived in farms, they all they lived together in huge families, they helped each other out, right? Nowadays we don't do that, etc. But also, what has caused us to start living back with our parents as a society, right? There's a lot of unaffordability issues that is happening. And so I think I'm not quite certain if I showed you guys, but the 30-year-olds who are married and own a home has reached super low levels. I think it was somewhere around the tune of 20 something percent. I can't recall exactly, but it was somewhere around there. And when you think about that, it's like, wow. It used to be, in the 50s and 60s percentile a few decades ago. And so it's eroded away. So keep an eye out. I think the demographic shift and the changes is going to lead to a housing crisis that's inevitable and around the corner. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel. It's Digital World Podcast, and I'll see you in the next episode.